Welcome to the channel. Today we're discussing the shocking news about Sean Diddy Combs, who's facing serious charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. After pleading not guilty, Diddy has been denied bail. But the big question is, can he avoid going to jail? Let's explore the possible legal strategies that could keep him out of prison. To understand how Diddy might defend himself, we need to break down the charges. He's facing multiple felony counts, including sex trafficking and racketeering. These are serious allegations that come with potentially long prison sentences if convicted. Racketeering usually involves running an organized criminal operation, while sex trafficking charges often deal with coercion or force. Both of these charges require strong evidence from the prosecution to secure a conviction. Any case as serious as this will depend heavily on the evidence the prosecutors present. Diddy's legal team will likely focus on discrediting key pieces of evidence. They may challenge the validity of witness testimony, argue that evidence was obtained unlawfully, or point to inconsistencies in the prosecution's narrative. If they can weaken the prosecution's case enough, it could create reasonable doubt in the minds of a jury, which could help Diddy avoid a guilty verdict. In high-profile cases like this, the credibility of witnesses is often crucial. Diddy's defense team may attempt to discredit witnesses by highlighting inconsistencies in their statements or by questioning their motives. If they can show that the witnesses have a reason to lie or exaggerate, whether it's for financial gain, revenge, or under coercion, it could cast serious doubt on the prosecution's case. One possible way for Diddy to avoid a lengthy prison sentence is through a plea deal. His lawyers might negotiate with federal prosecutors to reduce the charges or the severity of the punishment. While plea deals often result in the defendant admitting to some wrongdoing, they can sometimes help avoid the harshest penalties, including long prison sentences. In a case this serious, Diddy's team could argue for a reduced charge, such as conspiracy, which might come with a lesser sentence or fines instead of jail time. Another factor that could work in Diddy's favor is his public image and his history of philanthropy. In cases involving celebrities, courts sometimes take into account the defendant's contributions to society. Diddy has built a reputation not just as a music mogul, but also as a philanthropist and entrepreneur who has helped communities and created opportunities for others. His legal team may highlight this to argue that Diddy is not a danger to society and deserves leniency in sentencing. Diddy has the resources to hire some of the best legal minds in the country. I mean, he's a billionaire, so that could make all the difference in this case. Top-tier defense attorneys often know how to navigate complex federal charges and will use every legal avenue to defend their client. From finding procedural errors to challenging the constitutionality of the investigation, his legal team will explore every option to get him off the hook. One of the most serious charges Diddy faces is racketeering, which usually involves coordinating or participating in organized criminal activities. His legal team may argue that his involvement in these operations is either non-existent or indirect. If they can show that Diddy had no knowledge of or wasn't actively involved in the alleged illegal activities, they could undermine the prosecution's ability to prove intent, which is key for a racketeering conviction. The sex trafficking charge likely hinges on coercion or force. Diddy's defense could argue that any interactions were consensual, and that there is no credible evidence of coercion or illegal activity on his part. They could aim to create doubt around the prosecution's narrative by attacking the credibility of any accusers, suggesting ulterior motives or inconsistencies in their stories. Another key point Diddy's legal team may raise is whether the alleged crimes fall within the statute of limitations. In many criminal cases, there's a limited time frame during which charges can be brought. His lawyers may argue that the statute of limitations has expired, or they may challenge whether the New York court has proper jurisdiction over certain aspects of the case, potentially weakening the prosecution's stance. Reports suggest that Diddy was in contact with witnesses involved in his case. If this is viewed as witness tampering, it could seriously damage his defense and lead to additional charges. However, his legal team could argue that the contact was innocent or unrelated to the charges. They might claim that Diddy was unaware of the legal implications or that the communication didn't amount to tampering. The goal here would be to avoid these allegations from further complicating his case. Racketeering charges are often complicated because they require proof that Diddy was directly involved in managing an organized criminal enterprise. His legal team could argue that Diddy was not aware of any criminal activities conducted by associates, and that he had no direct involvement. By distancing him from the operations, they could attempt to show that Diddy was not the one orchestrating or benefiting from any illegal activity. Sex trafficking charges typically rely on proving coercion or exploitation. Diddy's lawyers may focus on undermining the credibility of accusers or witnesses. They could argue that any alleged interactions were consensual and dispute any claims of force or coercion. By questioning the motives of accusers, they could attempt to cast doubt on whether Diddy played any illegal role in these activities. So, can Diddy avoid going to prison? While the charges are serious, with the right defense strategy, a strong legal team, and possible negotiations for a plea deal, there's a chance he could avoid a lengthy prison sentence. We'll have to wait and see how this case unfolds. What do you think? Will Diddy beat the charges? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for updates as this case develops.